In this tutorial for Team Yankee, I'm going to discuss how you hit your target with defensive fire and the effects of those hits. So recapping our assault step, we've charged into contact, and I've already talked about that in the video. Now we're still doing opponent's defensive fire. All right, so these Soviets are going to be the ones that's going to be assaulted. And these American infantry are the ones that's doing the assaulting. And we'll just say that this is what happened. So how can the Soviets stop this assault? Because it's the Americans' turn. Okay, they're going to conduct their defensive fire. And I've already talked about who can conduct a defensive fire, how many shots they get and stuff like that. So we're going to do that now. So they're going to get their halted rate of fire, which they'll get 3 shots for the big stands and 1 shot for the little stands. However, the best thing to do is pin them down. So we're going to say they're pinned. Now they go to their moving rate of fire, but again, check notes, pinned rate of fire, 1. They get 1, but they're slow firing, so that means if they shoot, it's 1 harder for them to hit the target. So these guys are going to each get 1 die. They're going to get 1 die, but it's 1 harder for them to hit the target. They need 4s, they need 5s. So they roll, miss, hit, they need 5s, and miss. So they got 1 hit. And you roll the saves as normal, maybe it dies. If the one that dies is the one that's in base contact and there's that one behind it that still gets to attack, you take it out as normal and this one takes its place. Okay, so they got 1 hit. That's not enough to stop the assault. You need to pin this unit in the assault step. And I've talked about how many it took. If it's 11 or less, it's 5. If it's 12 or more, I should say stands. 11 or less stands, and you do 5 hits, it's pinned. If it's 12 or more stands and you do 8 hits, they are pinned. Not killed, just hits. So they've taken 1. Well, maybe the Shilka's back here. So the Shilka never gets pinned, so it's just going to get its halted rate of fire. It's going to get 6 shots. So it's going to get 6 shots. Needing 4s, that one's cocked, there we go. We got 4 hits. Those will be allocated out. The guys have to make saves as usual. Do remember, though, if they're in bulletproof cover or something, they don't get it during the defensive fire. They can get concealment, though. So there's no bulletproof protection from defensive fire. All right, so hit 4. They got 5 total hits on them. Maybe another one dies. The remaining ones move back 2 inches. The assault does not happen now. And they are now pinned down. Not them, these guys. Well, they're already pinned, but these guys now are pinned down. So that assault did not take place because they got enough hits on them. And so you may say, that's it for defensive fire, done. If they were still there, and let's say they were at 4 hits, and you still had some other stuff to shoot at them, you can. If not, the assault's going to take place with what's left. So now, let's go with some tanks. So these Abrams are coming in to assault. How do they stop this assault from happening? Well, it's a little different. You can't pin tanks down, so it's not going to be the pinning situation as it would be to infantry. But there is a way to stop them. And what you do is you do your normal attack against them. So against tanks, they have 2. They have this one and that one. So we're going to look, and the tanks are coming in. Front 18, oh, neither of those can do anything. Well, when tanks are coming in and you're doing defensive fire, it goes against side armor. Even if this was shooting, it can't affect it, but it's going against side armor. So any defensive fire coming on these tanks, side armor. You're saying, oh, 8. Look at those numbers. Yeah. Well, don't forget, They're size 16 against heat. Both these are heat. So make sure you always look at your notes. They are pinned. Both are slow firing. So they're each going to get one shot. And this one can't even affect us, so don't even roll it. So it's going to be the small stands, those two. They're going to have to roll 5s to hit the tanks. So hit, and wow, hit. So those go on side armor. I already talked about saves and all that, and I'm not going to go through all the saves and bailing out and stuff like that. So how can you stop this? It's not 2 hits. That didn't stop the assault from the tanks. There's 2 ways that you think about how to stop a tank assault, and it's a combination. They could be somehow those tank shots bailed them out. If that happens, the bailed out tanks move back 2 inches, and that's it. The assault, they can't assault. Assault's over. This one also falls back, but it's not bailed out. 2 or more tanks are bailed out, unless they went solo. Then it's just the one tank gets bailed out. 2 or more tanks get bailed out, the whole unit moves back. The assault does not happen with this unit. Another way, and this would be pretty devastating if this happened to you, is 2 are destroyed. 2 tanks are destroyed and coming in from defensive fire. This one's going to back up. The assault does not happen, and you've lost 2 tanks. Or 1 is destroyed and 1 is bailed out. Due to that defensive fire, this one's going to back up, still bailed out. This one's going to back up 2 inches. So that's the way to stop an assault with your defensive fire from tanks. And remember, it goes against side armor. I should also say this is armored tanks, not unarmored tanks. Now, it has nothing to do with, these guys will not be part of anything with do defensive fire, so I'm not even going to go over them with defensive fire. So armored tanks, when they assault, this is what happens to them, and I've already gone over what happens with the infantry. And so that is rolling to hit. And then how do you stop that assault from happening?